Good morning, sir. It's Monday. How are you?
Good. Monday.
Really? That's the best yet? Good?
You're
not excited?
I'm very excited.
Yeah,
very excited
I can tell.
for this week.
What's going on with the hair?
It's actually not looking bad. It's not looking bad.
Okay.
It was. I couldn't wake up this morning. It was really hard to wake up this morning.
Was it?
I don't know why.
Well,
very
you were all
tired.
curled up with your special someone and...
Something like that. You're talking about Scout?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
See, it's so freeing knowing that she doesn't watch. It's... You can...
do whatever.
Yeah.
The sun is rising earlier. It was a beautiful Sunday, and I think it's supposed to be a beautiful Monday here in Chicago. And for whatever reason, I just couldn't get myself out of bed. It might be because I watched 6 hours of Dune.
Oh.
Have you heard of this movie Dune before?
Dune, the old Dune or the new Dune?
I didn't even know there was an old Dune.
There's like a 1980s Dune that looks
definitely
like it.
didn't watch. And Chalamet, I don't know if his parents were alive for that one, but
And?
I loved it. What?
Okay, good. Because it's really good. Yeah, it's really good.
So you like Dune?
Absolutely, love it.
I would have bet a healthy sum of money you wouldn't have liked.
I was
Dune.
up 3:10 Sunday morning, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to turn on Mission Impossible.
Fallout? Which one did you watch?
I don't know which one it was. I want to say 7, but okay, here's shocking. There was a 20-minute car chase. They all have 20-minute. They are is a series of 20-minute car chases.
You love action movies, though. I
but
thought.
It's got to have a plot.
Yeah, it doesn't. The plot doesn't really matter.
There was a bot that was in a submarine, and the submarine
Yeah, that's
crashed.
the most recent one. That's part 1 of. They're about to put out part 2 in 3 weeks. Yeah,
that was painful.
You didn't like it?
There's no plot.
It's not as good as the one before. It's Fallout. I think is the one that everyone at this point is like that's the best one.
He races the cars through Venice. It's either Venice or Florence or whatever.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't really matter.
Okay. All right. Well, I know he's going to escape because there's 80 more minutes a minute movie. So.
Yeah, you're right. That is the one where he gets into like a small car.
Yeah, gets in the tiny car after
Yeah.
he's out of the Aston Martin or Ferrari or whatever he was in.
Yeah, not as good that one.
No, it just was. I couldn't do it.
I can't believe that you like Dune though, because there's like 20-minute stretches of like we're just playing in sand. You know, like there's not a lot of action. There's not a lot of talking.
It's good.
What is it about it?
It's good. I mean,
and it's 3 hours. They're both like 3 hours.
Yeah, but there's enough plot and enough twists. I thought it was really
I didn't think you
interesting.
were a plot guy. I thought you were just a straight up action guy.
I watched James Bond this morning.
Okay. Which one? Who is James Bond?
Spectre.
So this is the recent one.
No, it's not the most recent one. It was like the one before, I think. I'm not sure, but at least it's got like.
But it's the recent guy. Who's the
Daniel
James
Craig,
Bond? Craig.
Who retired.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And they haven't done any James Bond since Craig retired.
No, I don't think they've announced who the next. It's possibly going to be a woman. It's possibly going to be.
Well, now that Trump's in the White House, I think they're gonna nix that.
I don't know. I don't think they've announced who the next James Bond is going to be. So
I'm just joking. But yeah, I really liked Dune. I liked Chalamet. I liked.
So you watched them back to back.
Who was the guy?
That's a lot of movie time.
He's like the creepy guy. Batista? Is he the first one?
Tony Batista?
Not Tony
creepy.
Batista. No, who's like the big muscular guy? He plays like the first bad guy. He's still around.
The guy with the beard who played Aquaman? No.
No. Forget it. But then I didn't know that
because the guy Justin, what's his name, or what's his
Austin Butler.
Austin Butler,
because he's like his brother or cousin or whatever in the second one.
Oh, that guy, yeah. He was good in that too.
I couldn't believe that it was him.
Yeah.
Callie had to tell me like an hour or two into. They'd already done like the Coliseum scene and everything, and I was just like, "That's him."
Yeah.
Totally couldn't tell.
And you got the guy who was in Deadpool. The older guy who was like the.
I'm the worst at this.
He taught the young. He taught Chalamet how to fight.
Rebecca Ferguson of Mission Impossible fame. She's
Josh Brolin.
She's the mom. Javier Bardem.
Yeah, Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, they're all good.
Skarsgård is even good. And
yeah.
I couldn't believe that. But yeah, I don't know.
And Jason Momoa was good. They were all good. It's good plot and everything.
I just couldn't believe. I would have imagined, just looking at the timing on the film, that you would have been out instantly.
I don't think I would have watched 6.5, 7 hours of it, but again, I don't have the luxury of your scheduling. So
well, because I spent $1 million on that Japan trip, I actually can't go anywhere for the next at least 3 to 5 years. So I just it is a funny concept though, because we pay so much for these different streaming things. Like I
got my Comcast bill and I actually printed it out, and I'm like, this is all wrong.
Because are you buying like pay-per-view rentals?
I've got
$4 to watch this.
I got the 184 channel package, which is, I'm sure, a lot of NASCAR or Bake-Off stuff that I'm not interested in. And then I've got supposedly the 1 gig up and down, which I tested, which is like 432 megs. And I'm like, this is not, and it's a huge bill. So it's all, and if you have a box in each room,
oh gosh,
you got to pay for the box.
How many rooms are you watching TV in?
We have a family room, and then there's like a porch area, and then the bedroom, and one upstairs. So
I got a solution for you. One big room. I'll knock out all you and me. We knock out all the walls.
Sounds good.
One room, one box.
No, I spent 2.5 hours yesterday fixing leaks in my basement. I turned on.
Jeez, your life.
I turned on all the water to the faucets outside, and of course, one of them, the little connectors, soldered, started leaking. And then Michelle taps me on the shoulders, and she says, "By the way, did you see that pool of water over there by the dehumidifier?" And I'm like, "No, I'll get on that next." So it's been a wonderful
Does part of you get excited when something like that happens, where it's like, oh, dang, a leak, like that sucks, that's annoying. But then how long does it take you to convert to like, oh, but I am excited to get to my tools?
No, because I put both these things in.
Okay.
So they should work flawlessly forever and never break.
Oh, wow.
So that's my problem.
Got it. So it's like a competitive thing.
Yeah. And it was one of the pipes had gotten nudged when stuff was being moved in the basement. So that was what caused a little leak there.
Man, I'm sorry about
really
that.
Exciting.
No, I was able to watch just 6 hours of Chalamet in the desert. It was pretty sweet.
Look at you. See, that's my target.
Drinks that blue
moving
water.
to a box in the sky.
Yeah. It's just beautiful. That director, pretty cool. You ever seen that Sicario movie?
I love Sicario, both of them.
Yeah. Wait, what? There's 2 Sicarios?
Yeah. Dawn of the Dead, I think is what it's called.
How many? I need to get Claude in here.
Oh, God, you and Claude. I'm surprised you can find your way in without Claude's our AI tool.
There's 2 Sicario movies. I didn't know that.
Didn't I say that 30 seconds ago?
I didn't believe you. It's funny because I texted my dad.
They both have Josh Brolin and Javier Bardem. No.
What's his name? Benicio del Toro. He's unbelievable.
He's
in that
good in
movie.
both of them.
Really?
Yeah, he's really good.
I didn't know that there was a second one.
Yeah.
It's funny because I texted my dad, biological dad.
Emily Blunt wasn't in the second one.
No, they couldn't get the contract worked out.
I can't believe they haven't made a third, to tell you the truth.
Really?
Because they were crowd pleasers.
Is it the same director that does both of them?
I don't know.
I texted my dad, my biological dad, loves Dune, and he was like, I was like, oh, have you seen Sicario? Or Arrival is the other one that this director, I don't know if you like Arrival.
Is that what the thing in the whale swimming in the water?
It's not, I don't know if there's a whale.
Well, there's creatures swimming in water.
There's like big creatures.
Yeah.
And he responded.
See, they're not enough plot. Too much whale.
And he responded, "Yeah, I like both Sicarios." And I went to Cali.
Yeah,
I think we're gonna have to find a home for my dad.
Yeah, we're gonna go make fun of old man. See, unbelievable.
All right, let's get into it. It's not getting any better.
Okay, let's make fun of this.
Relatively unchanged. Equity. I saw everything kind of dip last night. A little bit of comeback for some stuff, but quiet first handful of hours before the U.S. session. Only thing that I can really tell is a slight continuation of dollar strength
Cable's still good
against euro and against Swiss franc here.
Yeah.
But that being said, not really moving to any new levels. Strong week last week, obviously for a handful of assets,
right.
U.S. dollar included. What are you thinking with all we really have is confidence going into this week that they haven't sold into it? Because you go back here throughout April, and I know we're about to wrap up April, and you haven't seen more than 1 or 2 days of continued dollar strength, equity strength, crypto strength, anything.
Well,
we've seen 4 or 5, a full week, I guess.
We had 4 days of up equity moves in the U.S. Crypto, Bitcoin back above 90, well above 90.
Yeah.
Close to 100 before it gave back some ground last night.
Yeah.
But that out of everything has truly been Teflon.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody, next step is into the mid-60s. And not quite the case.
For the Bitcoin piece, yeah.
Yeah. And I think what we're seeing is gold, 3,300, got down to 3,280 last night.
Mm-hmm.
But again, $250 off its highs. So a big move, 8%. But no sense that, hey, we're going to take the freight train right back down to $3,000.
Sure.
So I think what we're going to do is markets get tired. I know that sounds trite to say, but you're going to see them be a little less elastic than last week, I think. Still some back and forth, but I think the idea of seeing new highs and lows in anything is going to be much more challenging. And that's good if you're looking to trade ranges. I think you have to accept the fact that, the low end of the euro maybe is slightly below 113, not 105. And I don't see us, there's a BOJ meeting this week. Non-farm payrolls start on Friday.
Yep.
Again, worst number in the world to actually gauge anything from. But we may get some movement off of that because no one can figure out if all the firings that took place in...
How meaningful it is for the U.S. economy.
Yeah, because there's now, the courts are coming back and saying all these people the government laid off actually have contracts and you can't just terminate them in that fashion. So I don't know. Will that move us? I doubt in any meaningful way.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it.
The T word doesn't seem to be that interesting. The president spoke at 1 o'clock on Friday. They knocked equities down. NASDAQ broke 150 points from the highs. It was like, they're going to roll it over. And he was talking, I am talking to China at the same time China's saying, nobody's talking to you. Mm-hmm. They brought it back up right to the highs.
Immediate.
Yeah.
It was like...
We got half an hour.
It's funny because it looked like... It was like, okay, this is the exact timeline for, 1 to 3 days of strength in all these assets.
Shake it out.
And then now they're going to take it all the way back down. And it was all of an hour, if that. They bounced everything into close last week.
I think practically we start to go back and look at and we'll have our friend Glenn run us the latest 1 standard deviation daily ranges.
Because up here, we're getting tighter.
And we're going to start to look at those as being a little bit more for, I don't want to say the more aggressive trader, but the more engaged trader, the more back and forth trader. We're going to start to use those to determine where, for the last 2 weeks, we've been talking about we're adding more to it. There's more general volatility. That's a 30-day average. We're in a higher volatility.
You're coming off these moves.
Right.
You've got a handful of data points in here that are 100-plus point moves. If you're looking at now the last 20-ish days, you have maybe 200-point days, and then you have a lot of 30, 40, not even. Look at the closeout last week. You have 1, 2, 3 days, 1, 2, 3, and then to start this week here, Sunday, Monday.
And that's not bad. It's just
20, 30, 40 points.
After periods of vol like this, markets get a little tired.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of steps back a little bit. Doesn't mean we can't trade 112 or back up to 115.
We'll take a look in March here, coming off of that first week, and then we saw plenty of nice moves up above 109 all the way down under 108.
Right. And I think for any of us who are stuck, in other words, that 108 to 110 range, which works so well, we got stubborn and we still have them. The idea that, okay, the market's tired now, that means we're going to revert right back to 111, and eventually I'm going to be able to scratch those. That's going to be a tougher sale. That's going to be a tougher trade.
Sure.
I'm more inclined to accept the ranges as where they are and trade around them a little bit. I think you're getting a little bit here where if we look at this, we're trading towards the bottom end of it. If we go over to cable, though, we're seeing a slightly different story.
And the cap on that piece, if you think about, if you're saying, okay, well, Pete and Frank, well, if it was 108 and 110, what are you looking at now in this environment? Because we also we are a little bit, we'll get to the schedule in just a second. FOMC is about 10 trading days out, 7 or 8 trading days out, a week from this Wednesday. And so that also is kind of looming in my mind of like, how many huge moves are we going to get leading up to that FOMC? To your point, the non-farm, it's non-farm on Friday. How big of a move is it going to be with the idea that in 2 days, 2 trading days from that non-farm, we have, the first Fed meeting since Trump has been calling for Powell's head. You take out this one day in here where we stayed above 114, and 114 we've traded several times and been unable to stay above it. 113 to the downside here, we've hit a few times in the last couple of weeks and been unable to stay below it. Now that's a 100-point range, but I'm looking at that 114 and 113, maybe down to 112, whatever you want to say, as essentially
that's your new value area.
Where it might be interesting, and we'll have Glenn crunch the numbers for tomorrow, looking more like 30, 40, 50-point days as opposed to 2 weeks ago, we were looking at 60, 70, 80-point days. Right. But let's take a look at that cable market in here, because this one you're infatuated with a little bit.
Well, just the euro, the first thing I'm looking at is what sets up easily is, to me, 112.90, 113, because you know where you're getting out. Anything below 112.5 means, they're going to
maybe they're going to try to take this down.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Here, if you're dying to sell something that's been on a run, I mean, where 133.70 to 134 gives you that same setup, and if you're wrong, it's 134.35, and you're pulling the trigger. So this is not one where I would say, here, I want to buy the 133s on the pullback.
It's interesting, to your point, one of the only ones on the board that is stronger here against the U.S. dollar going into this week. Like we noted, euro giving back a little ground, Swiss franc giving back a little ground out of those European currencies. But, 134 is the pretty much stone cold high in this market, and we're 133.40 right now.
So let's look at euro sterling. We just talked about the two outrights. Let's look at the non-dollar pairs, just the relationship of the two.
Because, obviously you're going to have this huge euro strength in here.
Right.
In those first couple weeks of April where euro was outperforming everything. But, man, this sterling has been the strong piece closing out April pretty much probably against every asset. I bet it would be the same thing when you're looking at pound yen as well.
Now here, it's basically, I don't mind buying the euro here, I sell in sterling here. I could trade both those in a single trade right here, and then this setup around 85 cents, 84.90, 85 cents. I think this, in terms of, we tried the highs, we've pulled back to this level 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Kind of the around 84.80 to 85 was the old high. Structure-wise, this sets up out of the three. I guess if I was to pick them, I'd probably be selling cable first, buying this second, and then figuring out. And in essence, this gives me both those trades. So let's me buy euro at the low end. Let's me sell cable at the higher end. And if you like that, doesn't mean you can't trade either one of those. You just tuck this one proportionally. You've got this exposure, and you don't have to figure out, do I need 2 of these futures against one of those futures? Or I'm not bashing futures. It's just the nature. Every product comes with good and bad. The ability to express your opinion on product is a little bit easier with these right now. So.
Well, and also, if you're taking that concept of, all right, in April, everything in the Forex space moved to new territory.
Right.
Okay. But now to close out April, we've seen kind of a conclusion to that run. And I'll run through it for the U.S. dollar pairs really quick.
Yeah, that's a little bit. It's a normalization trade a little bit. Yeah.
U.S. dollar, Japanese yen gets down all the way below. I mean, breaking down below 150 was a goal in and of itself. Getting all the way down to 140. Now it's kind of split the difference back to 144. Dollar Swissy gets all the way down close to 80 cents, which is, I think, the low going back the last decade plus. Now bounces back to about 83. Okay. Euro, new range, all the way up to close to 116, and that's going to be the highest in at least the last couple of years. Now back down to 113.5. Sterling, one of the only ones that isn't giving back that much ground, not kind of normalizing out. So if you were looking for, let's say, dollar value, and you're saying to yourself, well, I missed it. I missed the dollar low 2 weeks ago. This is the one that maybe has the greatest dollar value. But if you're looking at the rest of these and you're like, man, I don't know how much opinion I have of the dollar, but I do respect that we're in new territory. This cross here, this non-dollar cross, out of all of these markets that moved to a new territory here, has given back, out of everything I just showed, the most ground on a percentage basis. I mean, going from this old high of 84 up to 87, a 300-point move outside of that old high in this market, and giving back about 200 points of that, 2/3 of that move, that's way bigger than this dollar yen.
It's a nicer pullback in terms of percentages than any of these. Absolutely.
And it takes that dollar piece out of it if you are, stuck in a dollar yen trade or a Swiss franc or even if you're stuck short cable right here. This at least lightens up some of that dollar exposure if you're looking to long this and be short that pound against the dollar.
Right, and as U.S. traders, we're used to seeing everything priced in dollars. And again, we're trading two non-dollar things here, euro, sterling. The great news is platform does all the work for you.
Yeah.
So your P&L will be shown to you in dollars in real time, which makes it very easy to track. Again, they're all scalable. You want to take a quick pick at the calendar or commodity currencies?
Well, yeah, and just so you have your non-dollar pairs all down here. You could take a look at that. And yeah, I just did want to highlight, though it is a busy week as we get into the middle of it, we got the JOLTS number tomorrow. We've got a slew of European GDPs on Wednesday, and the U.S. GDP and the U.S. personal income and PCE on Wednesday. It gets lighter towards we have a BOJ Wednesday night.
This is surprisingly heavy for an end of the month.
It's a good amount of numbers.
You get a good start of the month.
The only thing that I am a little bit, if you're looking for big ranges, I just look at this FOMC that's on the 7th.
They haven't built anything into that, though, have they?
Not really.
It's all about the 130.
It got as far as maybe like 20 or 30%. We'll take a look at it. Chance of a cut, but I think maybe just a lot of people, maybe a little bit of a vol quiet period leading into that. But we'll see. I mean, plenty of data around Europe and the U.S. Throughout this week. But we'll have to look at the ranges with Glenn tomorrow, because I have a feeling that, they're tightening. You just see, this is the daily chart, and not a lot of huge days. So if you're looking for 60, 70-point moves in euro dollar, I don't know if this is the week that you're going to get them. But we'll take a look at the math.
We'll see. Yeah. And we can always have the T help us out.
The T?
The tariff. Wait. The TT.
It's been good for vol so far. But with that, we will pass it on to Tom, Tony, and Vanetta coming up next. Stay tuned, everybody. Peace.
Stephen and Atlanta, thank you so much for holding.
My pleasure, guys. And let me go on record as saying I think you've got Tasty Trade is the best brokerage, and you guys have the best content, and I'm not here just schmoozing. Y'all are the best on the planet, period, for what you do. Go on record as saying that. Tom,
Thanks.
You were the great disruptor when it came to forming Thinkorswim and then Tasty Trade. You're an innovator.
I appreciate you calling in. Good stuff as always. Thanks, man.